All right, so I've been away from blogging all week. I've been extremely busy working on a series of deals, and I'm in the middle of a 1 week long mentorship with Nick Ralph from Montreal. I call them Nick Ralph, but they're Nick and Ralph. There's a Rod as well, but he's in Cuba on vacation right now. And they're basically in my house every single day from morning till night. They just left, it's almost 11 o'clock, where we're going over deals, learning over how to analyze properties and how to effectively get into your business. I did an earlier seller call today where it was quite interesting. Not only did I get a property subject to with an over 40% return, but I also was able to negotiate some pretty interesting things and possibly get money out of it as well from our from our potential seller as a potential money source for future deals. Now, I won't be taking any money from him in the near future, but maybe as our relationship grows and as I get to know him a little bit better to see if this is a good fit, I might be able to do that. So this is a great opportunity where you're taking a seller, turning them into a possible lender, and building a relationship that really lasts quite a long time. So listen to the seller call. I hope you like it. Forgive me for not posting for the last week or so. I'll be posting every day moving forward, and I'll try to catch up a little bit on my blogs. So enjoy the seller call. It's a very good one.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the live seller call where we're going to help you kick some ass and learn how to some negotiation techniques and have a lot of fun doing it. Today I have a longer call. I actually posted it already on my Facebook Live. I did it live on Facebook. And there's a couple reasons I'm going to play this call. Number one is it was done today. Number two is it also opened the door to a possible investor that will invest in other deals. And number three, it's a subject to call, meaning that there's absolutely zero financing that's necessary. Number four is the return is 44%. And number five, there's almost $50,000 in equity in the deal the instant that I buy it. So it's almost $50,000 in equity. It's a 44% return. The person that's selling it has other capital that he wants to invest in, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So it's a pretty interesting deal. This comes from Sam in Montreal, who literally has been kicking ass. I don't know how many contracts he's gotten. I think he's gotten 4 contracts in 2 weeks. I started working with him just on the side a couple of weeks ago, and the guy's just been kicking ass incredibly. So I'm super impressed with that. Has a whole bunch of contracts ready and rare to go, all at huge discounts, and I'm pretty proud of the guy, considering that he's only been at it for 2 weeks. So when I hear people that are bitching and moaning that there are no deals out there, I laugh. Ha ha! There are plenty of deals to be had. It's that you're just not marketing hard enough, or you don't have the knowledge in order to get the right deals at the right time. So it has nothing to do with the lack of deals. It's a lack of knowledge. If you actually know what you're looking for, know what questions to ask, know how to ask them, in which order to ask them, which contracts to use, and how to get to the finish line, you will do extremely well. You don't learn this shit in school at all. You have to literally learn from someone that's been doing it for years. And that's probably the best investment you'll ever make. So this is what this call is all about. Some free content for you to be able to learn how to do this, to take a look at what others are doing, peer through the looking glass like a fat kid in a window at a cake store, wanting to get into the cake store and seeing what others are doing and seeing exactly how we make this work. So, this is not the right call that I have here posted here. Give me 1 second. This is going to be, all right, here we go. All right, so this is the call. It's a 24-minute call. I'm probably not going to play the whole thing. I'm probably going to forward some of it because he is extremely descriptive in what he's doing. The goodies of the call are probably closer to the end of the call, but we're going to take it from there. So good to see some familiar faces on the call. We have Maryse, bonjour, bonjour. We have Graham, good eye, who was at Success Reflex, who I believe is still in Florida. Sam, this is hi, of course. You're on the call since this is your deal. Bonjour, Kim, as well. Cliff, nice to see you as well. And who else do we have here on the call? So who else dare say hello? Angie, good to see you. And Nick, toujours un plaisir. Bang Bang, good to see you. Barbara, great to see you. Carrie as well. Chris, Christina, I was awesome to see you at Success Reflex. Hopefully you're kicking ass. Cyril, good to see you as well. Deepak out of UK. France, nice to see you. Helmut, my favorite German. Irene, nice to see you. Keith, Kim, we have a whole bunch of people. And go on and on and on. Don't want to waste the whole call doing shout outs, but good to see you guys. Wendy as well. Walter, nice to see you as well. So, okay, so here we go. Yang, I don't know if you're saying you missed the call. We just started the call. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to start playing and start listening. And if you have any questions or any comments, of course, this is interactive. This is live. And if you want to ask me anything, please go ahead. Hey, man.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So I just wanted to go over a few things with you. I talked to Sam briefly a couple times, and I just wanted to see if we're on the same page.
Good. Yes. So what? So there's no loss in translation. Can you just give me the quick rundown of the property and the situation, if you don't mind?
Okay. Property, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,800 square feet, conventional foundation, brick, 2-car, carport in the back. I'd say overall it's probably a 9 out of 10 as far as condition, maybe a 9.5. The roof is a little bit old. It probably is going to need a new roof in the next couple of years. But no leaks, no active leaks. And none actually that I can recall in the past several years. I've owned it since 2009. I paid $129 for it. No seller concessions at all, just $129 straight. I've had some AC work done, no major issues, little things here and there, a pipe here and something else there. No structural issues. The home inspection was flawless. I paid off the mortgage very quickly after, I took the conventional loan out in 2009.
Okay, so for those of you that are just listening at this, he is rambling on and on and on. Just so I give you a little bit of context, Sam had already discussed us taking over his mortgage a little bit and had some questions. So I was coming in after Sam had already asked him if he would be okay with us taking the mortgage, and I basically stepped in and said, hey, what can you tell me about what you're doing? So I'm a little bit more gracious on time right now, and you'll see why in a second as to why I give it. Usually I would cut people off saying, listen, and this is extremely accurate, I really don't care how many bedrooms there are. I don't care about pretty much any of the layout of the house and all the crap that he's talking about. I really don't care. The reason I don't care is there's a tenant in the house that's cash flowing, and I really care more about the numbers. I care if there's some deferred maintenance, which he's going to get into in detail. But the way that he's describing this, I already know that he's probably taking extremely good care of the house. But let's get into the nitty gritty here in just a second.
Paid it off very quickly, and then just a couple of months ago, I tapped it for equity. I took out 75% loan to value for another. I do real estate kind of all over the Southeast.
Okay.
So,
all right. So he said he does real estate all over the Southeast. So he tells me he's an investor, which is good. So many of you, when you're doing a call, you don't listen to what the seller is saying. So I'm listening very closely. Even though I don't care about what he's saying, I'm still listening. I'm still focused in exactly what are the key points that he can throw down that I can pick up later to use for either a negotiating tool. Like there's a mistake, there's a problem, a roof needs to be replaced, that he's an investor, he has extra cash. Anything that he throws down, those are the nuggets that I'm sort of gonna weed through. Do I care about the number of bedrooms? Absolutely not. I really don't give a shit. Do I care about him being an investor? Yes, because that means I can be a little bit more direct and more. I can just literally go quicker to the chase. Now this is a 25-minute call, which is probably 14 more minutes than I like it to be, because usually my calls are around 10 minutes long. But number one, it's a student deal, so I'm spending a little bit more time. Sam is fairly new, so I'm trying to help him out a little bit, give him a little bit. I'd be less if this was my own deal. I probably would have done it a little bit less of a time frame. But I think from a learning perspective, this is a great call.
It was a big project, and I needed cash, so I took out 112.
By the way, if he paid off his mortgage in less than 2 or 3 years, does that mean the guy has money? Yeah. By the way, this is an interactive call. So Graham says yes. I guess Graham is the only person out of the 50 people that are on the call that say he has no money. So only 3 of you believes that he has money. Yes, the guy has money. If the guy's paid off his mortgage in a very short period of time, the guy has cash. Very few people have the ability to pay off the mortgage on their own house, okay, that quickly. So that's instantly, I know the guy's not going to be financially driven. He's got no heartache. I'm not going to talk about him not having any money or being in a crisis situation where that he can't afford his house. That would be a terrible move for me. All right? So he has money.
Well, there's no liens, no nothing. I just owe 112.
Mm-hmm.
The taxes are $3,600.
All right. So something else that he said that I want to make sure that you understand is he got a loan for 75% of value. So he refinanced his house, which is what I say all the time is you buy it, you pay it off, or you have an existing mortgage. You can always refinance it if you own it for a period of time, and he did. And this is an investment house now for him. He doesn't live in this house. It's an investment house. He got 75% of value. I say 70, he got 75%. So if he got a $112,000 mortgage, what's the property worth? Probably about 160. All right. So there's about $50,000 in equity left. What's 175? What's 160 times 0.75? What's 160 times 0.75? My calculator is frozen for some reason. It's 120. So 170 might have come out at 170, which is good. So there's a little bit more equity than I expected, which is always nice to hear.
That city and county total is about $3,600, which is high. I have never gone through the process to get those reduced. I strongly believe that they should be lower, so under 3,000. But again, I just haven't made the attempt to do so.
Okay.
Let's see, major issues. The only major thing I've had since 2009 was the pipe going out to the main out in the front yard. It was cast iron, and it started to leak, and then the roots got in there. So the roots filled up the pipe, and I spent, I think it was like $6,000 to redo that whole pipe, and now it's PVC. If you go by the property, you'll see a mound. The dirt hasn't quite settled. And I'm actually getting that taken care of this week. And I'm getting the back porch painted. It's been peeling. So no wood rot, no major issues. I mean, I'm fixing the porch because it's got some peeling paint. So if I see anything deteriorating, I fix it pretty much right on the spot.
Do you live there now, James? Are you living there now, or is this a rental property?
No, I bought it in 09. It was the first house I ever bought, and I lived there with 2 of my college buddies. I rented out the rooms. And then since 2011, I have been renting it out. The highest I've gotten was 1,300. Okay. And 1,250 is about, I can consistently get 1,250. Right now it's rented at 1,200 because I've got a super nice and responsible tenant in there, and he takes care of the yard for me. He's an accountant. So I'd say literally out of 100 or so tenants I've got, he's the top 1 or 2. I mean, I can text him anytime, and so I'm reduced the rent for him and help him out.
That's great. Is it good to have a tenant that's in the property that takes care of the property, that's an accountant, that's basically anal enough to take care of everything? Okay, he's renting. If he's an accountant, I'm assuming he makes some cash. Would you rather have a person in your house that pays a little bit less in rent, but they're going to be taking very good care of your asset? Or would you prefer to have, by the way, this is very close to a university, a major university. Or would you prefer to have a different model, which I'm going to talk about in a second, where you have kids that are in the house that pay maybe a little bit more, but could possibly trash the property? So what would be better to have someone take care of the property, or someone to actually go in and trash the property, or possibly trash the property if they're kids. We're going to get into that exact detail in just a second. All right. So you tell me what you think is better. All right.
And he keeps it, and it's, it's like, it's as clean as your home or my home if you were to walk in there right now.
That's great.
The vents, there has been some rust on the inner vents. They're old stainless steel, so they rust and stuff. I want to get the synthetic ones or whatever the new plastic is and get those taken care of. And then also the dishwasher has been leaking slightly just over time. I noticed a soft spot in the kitchen. So the joists, I had the joists inspected and they are intact. But the plywood, the flooring, that wood that goes horizontal, is a bit soft in an area. So first I need to replace the dishwasher. And then I was going to get rid of the ugly laminate that's in there in the kitchen and retile it with something, something cheap, not too expensive, but, and then I was kind of looking at doing the whole kitchen, repainting the cabinets and maybe put some new countertops in and appliances, but I've had some offers on the house recently, so I've kind of been putting this off. I don't want to spend, $3,000 to $4,000 on kitchen rehab, if I'm just going to turn around and sell it.
So you're in the business then? You buy and sell property, rent them out? What do you do now?
I don't. So I have never ever sold a property. I just keep buying. So I've got the biggest property I have is 32 units in Nashville, and then I've got some stuff in Texas and in Georgia as well. Most of them are duplexes or quadplexes. That's kind of my sweet spot.
Understood.
I only have a few single family just because of the numbers. Well, the numbers are better.
I agree. But we do single family, multis, big project. We just did 140 units in Birmingham. Yeah, we're.
Oh wow!
We do mobile home parks, hotels, anything that basically makes money. We do. We have private equity funds that we place into property. So instead of making a couple bucks in the bank, it makes a lot more in real estate, especially. All right. So this is something I really want to discuss is when I talk about the private equity funds that we have access to, which we do. Many of you that are on this call have gotten funded from these funds. How excited do I sound when I talk about the money? I really don't. I'm almost saying it like, we have some funds. We use them. No big deal. I'm extremely low key when I do it. And it's important that when you communicate with a seller that you don't sound, we got tons of cash. We're ready to use it. This is WSHIT talking about, like a radio station, like you're so excited that you have all this cash. People with cash aren't excited that they have cash. And somehow when you have a lot of cash, you're not that excited that you have money anymore. But when you don't have any money, you really want to be excited that you have money. So you talk like, well, if I had a lot of money, I'd be really excited. So this is what I must sound like when I'm excited. I have a lot of cash. Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. I've got cash. If you're too excited about it, it's not congruent with you actually having the money. So you can't do that. You have to just be like, we got some money. Let's use it. Maybe not. And that attracts people to you to get money. And this is why I really want to play the call is watch what happens when I start talking extremely nonchalantly because I talk like, me and my partners, which is, if I do a deal with, Nick is here for a week with Ralph. They just closed on 140 units. And, we communicate as partners. That's 140 units. There's been a couple mobile home parks that have been purchased also with 150 units. Like this month alone, we probably closed close to 500 units just this month with myself involved as facilitating closings with partners. So if we take a look at all the months that have gone by since I've started doing this, we're talking probably close to at least 5,000-6,000 units, which I can honestly say me and my partners have closed over 5,000-6,000 units, which sounds impressive. Like I don't own all of them. I have a small stake in some of them, but it's not all mine. So it's me and my partners, which is 100% accurate. And watch what happens when I start saying it, but in a completely almost dismissive way.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get into that professionally. I'm a commercial pilot, and real estate is just kind of it turns out passive income stream. But I've always wanted to get into the private equity side and really go hard at real estate. I think I've got what it takes to do a lot better. It's just, as you know, it's hard for you get to a point where the banks are starting to loan you anymore. I only make so much my day job.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I get that. It's, when you get to commercial, they don't look at that as much anymore, which is why commercial is a little bit better. But single family, that's why we're talking right now is there's debt on the property. So instead of if we could, what we generally do if we can is take over the debt, give you some cash to work, and then refi it once we have it for 6 to 9 months. We have a track record of stability, and then we can just do a refi at prime plus 1 or prime plus 2, pull out the cash, and then recycle it. So that's generally how it works. So why am I explaining this guy my business model? Why am I saying, hey, we're going to buy it, we're going to take it, we're going to refinance it, and we just keep pulling out money and then doing it again, and basically just being extremely transparent as to what we do? Because whether we take over his mortgage or we use these private equity funds, or we use our own cash, or we use, let's say Syed wants to, get in on a deal, or Susan wants to get over in a deal, or Wendy says, you know what, let's throw down some cash, or Wojciech goes into a property and says, I want to get this $1 million hotel. We buy this, this hotel for $4 million, and we refinance the money. That's what we do. We buy it, we refinance it, we pull it out, and the money that we pull out is tax free, so we can reinvest into something else. That's the whole model. And the guy's done 100 properties. The guy himself, just doing it the old fashioned way, getting his own mortgages, which he hasn't said. I don't think he said yet where he can't get a mortgage anymore. Basically, he's stuck. So he needs to learn new ways of doing it. So now there's an opportunity for me to actually teach him a little bit. That's my nature, to help others learn more. So.
Okay. So you're looking to do a rehab, I guess.
On yours?
Yes. Or like a renovation?
No, not rehab. No, we refinance. Basically, what we do is does it need rehabbing? You basically said, the only thing that really needs to be done is the dishwasher. Is that pretty much it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So it'd be the easiest thing for us to do would be, if we can, is take over the debt that's there, give you some money to work, and we would refinance it as soon as. How long has your tenant been in there right now?
He's been in there about a year, and I can work with him. He can move out kind of whenever I want.
We want the tenant, so if he can stay, that's even better. We're not looking to.
Yeah.
We're not flippers. Yeah. We buy and hold. So, we want to hold it.
Yeah. His lease is good through August.
Yeah. So if he even wants to renew, that'd be super. As long as I don't know if your what's your debt service now?
67.
Is that with taxes and insurance, or that's
no? I'm sorry. Yeah, that's PITI. That's everything.
That's everything. Yeah, and he's paying.
Yeah. So debt service would be in the low 500s if my math is correct.
Okay. And then
insurance premium on that property, I had it through USAA, and of course I get a discount for the multiple properties, but it's I think it's about $800 a year is for the insurance.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
I'd say low 5s is going to be your debt service.
Okay. Yeah, that gives us a couple bucks every month, so whatever we agree to give you, then you're happy and we're happy. All right, did you guys hear that as to how much is made here on this deal? I'm going to make sure that you guys heard that. So let's pull out your calculators, guys, and you tell me how much money is made.
And of course, I get a discount for the multiple properties, but it's I think it's about $800 a year is for the insurance.
Gotcha. I'm going to rewind it just a little bit more. We buy and hold, so we want to hold it.
Yeah, his lease is good through August.
Yeah. So if he even wants to renew, that'd be super. As long as I don't know if what's your debt service now?
67.
Is that with taxes and insurance, or that's
no? I'm sorry. Yeah, that's PITI. That's everything.
That's everything. Yeah, and he's paying.
Yeah. So debt service would be in the low 500s if my math is correct.
Okay. And then
insurance premium on that.
So 867 is what the guy's paying. Is out. So that's his expenses. 1,200 minus 867. That's that's taxes, insurance, everything. So that's left with $333 a month times 12 months. All right, we're left with about $4,000. All right, $4,000 in a year. The guy's an accountant; he pays without fail. 4,000. We're short $4, but so if we give the guy 10,000, obviously we know what the answer is. It's a 39% return, which is pretty hot. It's a little bit better than what the RBC or CIBC or NatWest Bank or Lloyd's of London will give me in a savings account if I put $10,000 there.
Property, I have it through USAA, and of course I get a discount for the multiple properties, but it's I think it's like $800 a year is for the insurance.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So I think loan 5 is going to be your debt service.
Okay, yeah, that gives us a couple bucks every month. So whatever we agree to give you, then you're happy and we're happy, and it takes from there.
Okay. Hey, so I'm pretty good at acquisition, but I'm not, and I've done it subject to, I've acquired subject to properties, but I've never been on the selling end. Is that what you're looking to do? Is subject to, and keep both the debt in my name?
Keep the debt in your name for a short period of time until we do a refinance. Usually it's about 18 months. All right, so guys, for those of you who are interested in getting in this business to take over debt, I need you to listen to these objections because I really go over step by step as to how this works, and you're going to want to take some notes here.
But I'm not, and I've done it subject to, I've acquired subject to properties, but I've never been on the selling end. Is that what you're looking to do? Is subject to, and keep both the debt in my name? Keep the debt in your name for a short period of time until we do a refinance. Usually it's about 18 months. 18 months, okay. And I would assume, obviously, I'm gonna consult with my attorney, but there is I'm sure you're very well aware of the due on sale clause and the possible. Yes. Okay. So, how can you explain to me? All right. For those of you that don't know what a due on sale clause means, it means that if you have a property and you sell your property, it goes due on sale. It means there's a clause in the mortgage that says, as soon as I transfer title, there's a flag that goes up. There's a flag that goes up saying you sold the property, your loan is now due and payable. It goes into foreclosure. So it's not that you didn't make the payment. It means it goes into foreclosure because there was a due on sale clause, and even though you sold the property, this happens. Now this actually happens all the time, and in commercial property, it can happen a lot more than in residential property, but it will happen. So he's asking me, how do we get around the due on sale clause? So he says that he's done some subject twos before, but he's asking me questions which clearly says he has never done it before. Because if he knew that, he would not be asking me the question. As long as you need it, how you would dodge that? Or
there's two ways to do it. One is we do a wraparound or a contract for deed, which is not technically a sale. Are you familiar with contract for deeds or agreement for deeds?
Yes, I am.
All right, so it's like buying a car. You don't really own the car. The person that's lent you the money, or Ford Credit, they own the car. And then we have a contract that basically says once I pay you off, then I get title. So that's one way to do it. The next is to put the property into a trust. And without getting too technical, if you put the property into a trust, it avoids the due on sale clause. It's called the Garn-Saint-Germain Act. If you Google Garn-Saint-Germain Act of 1986.
I'm also familiar. So essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would create the trust and then designate you as a beneficiary. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, we would leave you as a trustee and then do an assignment of beneficial interest that we don't record. Nothing happens. Yes. So if you put me as a beneficiary, then it actually does trigger legally the due on sale clause. By leaving you as a beneficiary, it would not. So if the bank asks for the paperwork, we send them the paperwork. They go, yep, everything's cool. Everything's kosher. Everything smells great. Roses. And at that point, when we're refinanced, then we bring in our assignment of beneficial interest, and then we close at that point and refinance the property.
Awesome. That's what I figured you were going. Which is your preferred method?
Don't care. Whatever is easier for you.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question before to see if you guys are paying attention. So what do you think is better for us? To own the property or to do a contract for deed? A contract for deed basically is a tool that lets us control the property without actually owning it. Where technically we don't own the title, but we have access to the property just like a car loan. When you have a car loan, you don't own the property. You get to use the car. You get to drive the car. You get to insure the car. You get to sell the car, but you actually technically don't have the title. The person or the entity that's lending you the money, they hold the title in their name. If you insure the car, they're also insured as the loss payee, meaning that if you have an accident, you're still on the hook to pay them even if you have an accident, because you have to pay off your loan first before you get any cash. That's how it works. So there's that, which basically is just like owning it, but you don't. Or is it to actually own it and have this debt that's there? Which one is better, do you think? Contract for deed or subject to? Which one do you think it is? Vicky says contract for deed. Angie says contract for deed. Chris says contract for deed. Contract for deed, contract for deed. The answer is better for us to own it into a trust. A contract for deed is less control, meaning that if we don't make a payment, the seller gets the property back. In a subject to deal, if we don't make a payment, we still own the property, and the seller's literally screwed because they can't do anything. They have zero control over the asset. They've relinquished all control over to us and have zero access to recourse to get their property back, which is a terrible deal for them in some cases. But our job is, we're not in the business of not making payments, because if we don't make payments, number one, it ruins our credit. It's called equity skimming, and it's fairly illegal. And number two is if you don't make their payment after receiving payment, it's, as I said, it's not good. But not only that, you're going to ruin the relationship with the seller, which is terrible. And number three is you're going to lose the property because you're not making payments on the property, which means you'll lose your investment if you give them any money. So again, terrible, terrible, terrible. So I would prefer to do a contract for, a subject to, but I'm okay with doing a contract for deed. Now, the reason I'm going to sway into one direction or the other is depending on how savvy the person is on the other end. What I mean by that is, if he's going to consult with his attorney, do you think his attorney is going to be okay with us having the property in our name, with the mortgage being in his name, with all the liability on him and none of the liability on us? There's no way on God's green earth that is ever going to happen. No attorney is going to allow his client to say, "Hey, put the house in your name, in his name or her name, but you keep the mortgage in your name." That's not going to fly at all. It's going to be terrible for an attorney to say that. A contract for deed has been an instrument. I call this the tool, the contract, an instrument, because it's basically a tool. So it's an instrument. It's a legal term, allowing us to have full control of the property, do whatever we want with the property, enjoy the property. They still have to foreclose us out if we don't make a payment. So it's almost like owning it, but we don't actually own the title. We can't put a mortgage on it. We can't do anything like that. So there's some disadvantages, like also tax. There's certain things we can't do because we technically don't own it. So there's a few things. There's a few tax variations that we have to be aware of, but I'm not going to get into those those issues. But from a control issue, a contract for deed is a lot safer if you know he's going to an attorney.
We don't really. If you're, what's better for you is probably the contract for deed. I'll be as transparent as possible. What's better for us is a sub two, but in interest of making it better for you as.
So I just told him straight up. There you go.
Just because you have a lot more control in a contract for deed than you would in a subject to. We're not just looking after you as I prefer to do a subject to, but a lot of attorneys don't like it because technically the loan is still in your name, and it could be it could be a problem later if you don't know the person or trust that person. But from an investor point of view, if you were going to do this over and over again, I would recommend doing a subject to versus a contract for deed. But they're basically the exact same thing. It does the same. All we care about is control for us as long as we can, so we can then refinance and get pull the money out that we've given you. So we're happy.
Understood. Hey, also, I just want to point out, I did have a recent appraisal. It was done in August, I believe, of last year, to pull the cash out, and it appraised for just under 150, just to give you an idea.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the current bank is Wells Fargo. She just got the loan. I went to a broker, and then but Wells Fargo's got it, and they will have it for. I don't think they plan on selling it. So.
Okay, fair enough. That's cool.
Yeah.
And did you just and we'll pay the closing costs as well because that's fairly easy. We have a title company that we'll use in town. Now, are you still in Nashville, or are you in North Carolina, South Carolina? Where are you?
I'm in DC. Actually,
you're in DC.
So that's where I live in, so I'm kind of all over the place.
Oh, so you're in Vancouver right now?
No, DC.
Oh, DC.
District of Columbia.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I heard DC. I'm like, well, you're in Canada. Wow, that's cool. Well,
No. I split time between Chicago, DC, and Houston. So I'm kind of.
If you fly a lot, can anyone guess what airline he works for? Houston, Dallas. I mean Houston, DC, and what was the other one he said? Chicago. No, not Delta. Not AA. United is correct, Cyril. Cyril gets the prize.
You're a United guy, huh? Yeah. Well, I'm young and single, so I'm still kind of, just busy.
Nice.
Can you give me, I know you haven't seen the property.
Now, he's a pilot. Now, pilots are extremely detail-oriented. They have money. I have a couple pilots in my under my wing, and they're extremely driven. They are extremely good at what they do. And anyone that they have lives at stake every day when they take off and land, and they get paid fairly well. I know some don't, but the ones that fall asleep at the wheel, that go drinking before they get kicked off a plane. If you don't know the reference, you're probably not Canadian, but they have extra cash. So I'm hoping that I've planted enough seeds in this conversation for him to come to me now and say, hey, maybe I should take some of my money and invest it with you. So we'll see if he does that.
The kitchen and the bathrooms have not been rehabbed. The bathrooms are straight out of 1955, so they got that pink and green ugly pastel.
Gotcha.
Don't need a towel job. And then the tub in the one, so in the hall bathroom, it's a tub shower combo. And the tub is that nasty pastel green, so that has to be painted over. Probably, I'd recommend that over replacement. And then the standard shower in the master is pink tile nasty. So, man, if you just went in there with I'd say $10,000 for the kitchen and the bathrooms, you're looking at a big kick in rent. Big kick in rent. So.
Okay.
All right. So him saying to me all this, is this good for him or good for me? Him just basically saying, I need to put $10,000 into this property. All he talked about was the dishwasher the flooring needs to be done because it leaked. He's going to replace the dishwasher. So he says he's going to do that. He's going to replace the floor. But I have basically to paint tiles because you can paint over tiles. You didn't know that. You can actually do that. There's special paint that you can put on tiles and it looks like it's brand new tile. Tile paint. And, to change different colors. And he's basically saying it's going to cost $10,000, which it won't because it's only tile paint. Is that good for me or good for you? Holy crap, he's basically just giving me another discount, which is perfect. Thank you for saying this because now it compromises his negotiation position. So even though the guy has over 100 properties, according to him, again, I haven't verified it, so I have to take him by his word. He's a pilot, so he can't lie. I'm getting a little excited saying, okay, well, now you're giving me the whole thing, so that's cool.
Are you familiar with that area at all?
I'm a little familiar with that area, but not as familiar as you are since you live there.
Okay, so 80% of the tenants I've had in that place have been University of Memphis students.
Gotcha.
That's pretty much the way to do it. I've never bothered with leasing by the room just because it's too much of a headache.
Yeah.
But that's the way to make the money on that house. I think that's one of the best way to use it.
Not that I would want to, because I prefer stable tenant over kids any day of the week, because usually college kids are not that friendly to a house.
Right.
And we want our assets to stay in good shape, not be destroyed. But just for the sake of argument, what do you know what each room could rent out for if we were to go that route? Which we're not, but if we were.
So when I bought the house in 2009, again, this is my first property. I was in the master, the 2 hall bedrooms, and they shared that hall bathroom. I rented it to them for $500 a piece, and they didn't pay utilities. So I'd say effectively they were paying probably $425 or $450.
Gotcha.
That was before the new AC unit, so the utility bills were pretty high. Now I would say we do $500 a room, and then they pay the utilities $500 a room for the regular bedrooms, and then maybe like $575 or so for the master because they have their own bathroom. I don't think that's pushing it at all. I think that's pretty realistic. But.
All right. So he actually have done a little bit of research on this, and if I rented out each room, I could get $600 for the for one room for each, and then about $750 for the master. So times 2 is $1,200 plus $750 for the master. We're looking at $1,950 a month times 12 months. Well, actually, I'm going to do this. $1,950 minus. It was can't remember what it was. Let's call it 870. I think it was 875 minus 875 is about $1,000. Let's call it 1,000. So it'll be $12,000, $12,000. But the downside is I'm renting it out to college kids. So the question is would I rather make a 120% return renting out to college kids, and know that I have to fix up the place every time they leave, or would I rather leave a accountant in there making $1,200 making $4,000 a year? So basically, I would make 1/3 of the money leaving the accountant there, or do I have the kids there, do whatever they got to do? So, which one do I do? Now, one is more management intensive, meaning that I'm going to get a call with, probably a solo cup that's been flushed down the toilet after their beer pong, or do I have the accountant who's stable, steady as she goes, the money's coming in no matter what, or do I have these college kids that are doing this? Which one? So some of you are no kids, take the safer tenant, leave the accountant. Well, how about this? What if I made the parents co-sign with a large deposit and signed a 12-year lease and basically had a huge deposit with a credit card saying that if there's any damage, they're responsible for it, and have the parents, like I said, co-sign and really screen who is in there to have extremely good possible tenants in there. Now remember, the guy's lease expires in August and school starts in September. So it's almost perfect timing that the accountant is leaving and the students are coming. So now which one would you do? All right, so Yang is no matter what, forget it. Students maybe, so now you're thinking about it. So just because there's a problem doesn't mean you have to discount it. Now, it depends on the stage of life that you're in. Could you get a management team at this point and manage these kids? Absolutely. Could you do it even one level higher, where you fix up the garage and you have a student that sleeps in the garage to stuff as much in there? Could you not even do that at all and do an Airbnb model where Airbnbers are coming in and doing stuff like that? There's a lot of different things that you can do to increase the revenue. So you get students in, and then you have Airbnb to supplement the income. There's that as well. There's a lot of things that you can do to really increase revenues. So there's a lot of things that you can do. Now, is there more risk involved with students being there? Absolutely. No risk, no reward. You understand that term. If you risk nothing, then you shouldn't even be on this call. You should be watching TV all day long, not making one offer on any real estate. Don't buy real estate because it might actually burn down in one day. So the key is risk not, want not. Just remember that. So I don't know what I would do, but I know I'm not going to tell the guy that when I'm taking over his mortgage, I'm going to rent it out to students, because that would be a terrible thing for me to do. I honestly prefer to have a stable tenant in there. Specifically, I want as little pain in the ass as possible. I'm pain in the ass adverse. If there's any pains in the asses in my life, I want them out of my life. I have no interest.
Gotcha. Okay.
Definitely pick up your ROI.
Yeah, but it's your ROI is there, but PITA factor is a lot higher. The PITI factor, pain in the ass factor. For the extra $300, it's not worth it. I'd rather have the accountant there that that pays his rent every month and never have to fix a damn thing. I prefer that. Okay.
Yeah, we have the same approach.
Did you?
Can you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, you go ahead. I insist.
So this may be a little bit premature. You haven't seen the house, but I mean, you know the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Can you shoot from the hip and kind of give me a ballpark what you're looking at?
Well, do you know what's the number that you need? Do you know how much cash you need to? We'll pay the closing costs. What's the number that you we'll if we need to put in $10,000 in repairs, we will. It's just the more we have to fix up, the less available cash is in your pocket. That's all. Right. You know how that works. So what? You tell me what's the number that you need to walk away and be happy here. If we close next week.
I guess I don't really know. The first thing would be just assuring, obviously, again, I'd have to talk to the lawyer, make sure everything's kosher, that there's be no issues with that. But if we can get that set in stone, I'm asking 145. I paid 129. I'm realistic. I know you're not going to pay me, market value, but I'd like more than wholesale. So, like mid 130s, I think would be like 135, somewhere in there would probably make me pretty happy.
You owe, what do you owe? 113?
I owe 112 and change. Yeah, about 113.
Yeah. I don't know if we can do that. I don't know if we can give you $23,000 and take care of those repairs.
No, they aren't repairs. Just to be clear, that would be like rehab.
I understand.
So he's already told me a reason why. Now, he already agreed for us to take over the loan in another email. We hadn't really discussed how much cash he would get, so I'm like, merp on $23,000. I'm not excited about that at all.
Oh.
By the way, $23,000 is still a 20% return, but I don't care about a 20% return. I want a 40% return. Damn it!
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Would $10,000 work?
It's a little light, but we're not too. I don't think we're too far off to not make a deal. Let me think about it.
Okay.
Do you have time?
Yeah, I got time. I'm ready.
Okay.
If you say okay, again, this is all subject to your attorney's approval, all subject to everything being kosher, everything being cool. And obviously us taking a look at the property. We're not, if there's already a tenant that's paying, we'll just verify that the guy's actually there. It's not a fake tenant, which we've come across many times. If the real tenant's there and your payment is what it is, and we give you X amount of dollars, as long as our return is there, we're happy, and that's it. So, but if you're okay with 10, then I'll be happy to give you 10. We'll close it at a title company. I'll pay for all the closing costs. That'll be your net. So that'll be net in your pocket.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to think about that. I think it's a little light, so I maybe get back to you with the counter, but. That's all right with you in the next day or two?
Yeah, just think about it, ponder, and
awesome.
We'll take it from there.
Perfect. Hey, do you want to get inside the house at all, or do you want to get to a number?
I do. Let's get to a number first, and then I'll actually send an inspector in to take a look at it. Once we have an agreement of the minds, then I'll just make sure that the roof is okay, the mechanicals are okay, the foundation's okay. Those are the three main things that we check. And if there's a tenant already paying there, we're not really going to want to disturb the tenant too much, other than a quick walkthrough as an insurance sort of person. We don't want to spook the tenant. Generally, if there's a tenant there, even though there's a lease, sometimes people get spooked if there's a change of ownership. So they don't know.
Right. So I've already had a long discussion with this guy, and again, he's an accountant. He's a pretty bright guy, and I was honest with him.
Okay.
I said I was looking at maybe doing a rehab, maybe selling it, but either way, I wouldn't hang out to dry. So, so that's the good thing is that we don't have a freaky tenant that's going to bail on us in the last second and blow the deal. So.
We want to keep him anyway. We want to keep him if we can. So if we can leave him there, then
right.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll stay, and he's good again through August. What, if I may ask, what is your title? What do you own a company, or do you what do you guys do? Can you describe to me a little bit?
Just a couple guys that we're a group of guys and girls. There's some women in there, so I can't just say girls. Guys. We basically buy property. Each property we buy goes into a separate entity, and we do it on the side. I've been doing it full time now for about 15 years. And
Wow.
yeah, so we just buy and hold. Then we sell. We 1031 into more properties, and that's what we do. Yep.
And you guys have investors, or is it your own money that you're playing with?
We have investors and our own money. We have both.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
And where's your company? Is it kind of all over, or
So
where do you, like, you're in Vegas right now?
I have properties from Vegas all the way to Florida.
Jeez.
Yeah. We have
Wow.
myself and my partner,
Are you,
over 5,000 doors, those two.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys hiring?
No. We don't.
Never been asked for a job before.
We'll take, if you have capital you want to invest, we're working on hotel deals all the time where we need, some bucks. Those take a little bit more dollar intensive. The challenge with bigger properties is the returns aren't always, the double digits that we're looking for. So,
Right.
we're looking for double digit returns if we can. Single family is kind of a pain in the butt because it's only one, if you have 100% vacancy, if that person leaves. We need a lot of equity. So if we're doing single family, we need as much equity as possible so it offsets the vacancy when it is vacant.
So do you understand why I'm saying this to him, by the way? He has a single family property and we need a lot of equity in order to offset that. So I'm tying back why I need a better deal on his property. So I'm planting a seed of, in the single family, we need the best deal we can. And just keep listening carefully to how I word this. It's very important.
That's why we can't. I don't want to. I know you don't want us to buy. We want to buy as close to wholesale as we can, but sort of a wholesale retail. If there's already a tenant in place, like in your property, we have to get in as light as we can. Generally, I wouldn't even do 10K in a property like yours, only because you're an investor, and I want to be as fair as I can. I'm trying to be as generous as I can. I'm being a little bit more generous than I would normally be, and more transparent than I would normally be. I would never say, don't do it. Don't. I would suggest a contract for deed versus subject to. Just you're in the business, professional courtesy, if you will. But if we're investing in larger properties like 50 units, 60 unit, 100 units, your caps go down to like 7, 8, 9%. So it's a lot. It's not as attractive. So sometimes we want to sprinkle our portfolio with single families so it offsets the lower caps that we have.
Understood. Interesting. And do the investors pick and choose what properties they're invested in, and you pay different returns based on what they're...
We do. We lend money. We borrow money sometimes at 10, 11, and 12. Sometimes if it's a rehab, it's a little bit more, a little bit less. It just depends. It really depends on the asset class. If it's a class,
But you average around 10%?
10, 11, and 12. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What's the minimum?
How much cash do you need?
Don't you hate it when people do that? Don't you hate it when people say, well, how much cash do you need? How much cash can I give you? How much can I get involved? How can I do this? I'm buying his property and he's wanting to do that, which means that if we agree on a number, I could actually say, well, instead of giving you the money at 10,000, why don't we reinvest your 10,000 into another deal, which would be the same exact deal, but give him a 10% return. He'd probably like that. So we basically take his $10,000 that he wants and just turn it into a mortgage in his own property at 11% or a 10% return. Increasing our cash flow, increasing our cash on cash return to infinite because we would have absolutely zero money at closing. So if the guy's interested in lending us the money, why don't you lend us the $10,000 that we're going to give you? We'll give you a 10% rate and it'll be secured on your own property. Cha-ching! Now we just basically created a no money down deal, and he can start his investment portfolio with his own property. Thank you very much. I don't know if any of you see the humor in that and the sort of the semi-genius of that, but it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Probably 50 would be the least.
And what sort of length of what's the length of the term?
It'd be generally it would be 10% the first year, 11% the second year, 12% the third year. So the longer you stay in the deal, the more return you get.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, we might have to talk more about that.
Yeah, one day if ever you're interested, and
I'm not pushing them. I'm saying if ever you're interested, it's something you want to do. Maybe if you're interested,
today's not the day to talk about that.
The day today, I just said the day's not to talk about that.
Of course,
we can figure that out.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah, 10% is not bad for a hands-off. Just kind of give you the money and
you're in a first position.
It's great. It's so great.
Right. Awesome. Okay. Hey, let me think about the numbers, and I'll definitely get back to you. And I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, man. You take care.
There you go. All right. So, again, that was a little bit longer than I wanted to be, but that's how you get into a no money down deal. And there's a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of things to learn from that call. Excuse me. It's a great call. For those of you that have access to the learning, actually, it's on my Facebook right now. I will take it down at one point, but if you guys listen to it over and over again, you'll hear some pretty cool nuggets on that, on how to take over debt, how to posture yourself, and basically just have a very easy conversation with someone to help them out of their situation. He's getting rid of it for whatever reason he has to, and allowing us to get into something that we need as well. And that's really, and again, the more you practice, and this is kind of the stuff that we do with Success Reflex, which I encourage anyone and everyone to attend if they haven't attended Success Reflex yet. It's really the secret to getting some pretty phenomenal deals. And this is all we do for 3 full days, is call sellers, analyze what you're saying, figure out what you're saying wrong, because many of you might be calling, getting nowhere. You have absolutely no idea what you're saying wrong or is sabotaging the seller. Just a few words with key sentences or objections that are handled in the right way. If I didn't know how to handle his objection on how do you do that subject to, or a contract for deed, or do I see the property first, or what kind of organization are we? He asked a lot of very, very good questions, and by being able to handle those objections, like not even caring, because I have the reflex, I have that success reflex of how to respond. It totally changes the game. It changes the ability with being in a very proud of, very, very in a pilot position, if you will, hardy har. So you're in control of the plane, so it doesn't crash. And it's just a matter of getting better at that, and for that. So for those of you who have been in Success Reflex, specifically the last one, if you check your email, there is an invitation for the next webinar for Success Reflex group. There's 4 weeks of follow-up, and that starts tonight in about 4 minutes. So yeah. Okay, so a couple off-topic things. There are a couple students who have some deals that are in Ohio, in Indiana, and in Georgia that have some properties that are at extremely high caps that you can step in with already tenants in place, and some have existing financing as well. So if you have interest in buying a property off a student, the student will make a couple of bucks. You have to take care of the student. They work very hard and they paid for their education, so they should be paid in order to wholesale the deal. Some of these are incredibly fantastic deals. If you have some bucks that you would like to park into some property in the U.S., and you're interested in taking care of a student who has a great deal with extremely high returns, send me an email at KemboTrust. I'm going to send you my email, if those of you that don't have it, KemboTrust@gmail. I'll send you a couple of things that we have. We have about 5 of them that you can actually get into. Very, very light. Some you might need 30 grand, some you might need 20 grand, some you might need 10, some you need 50. We have different properties that have been put under contract where the sellers the students have said, I'd prefer to wholesale it, get a little bit of capital so I can put that into another deal in the future. They're extremely good deals. They're not shit deals at all. They're extremely good, high quality. Tenants in place in all of these, ready to go. So you just have to say, yes, I'm interested, and I'll connect you guys and we'll take care of it. So, all right. So gotcha. All right. So send me an email real quick. Anyone interested in Success Reflex, I have a spot open for 17th, 18th, and 19th. We're not sold out. We have one individual that can come with their spouse, parent, child, whoever needs be. We have one spot available. It's 17th, 18th, and 19th. If you have an interest in me busting your ass for 3 days, holding you hostage in one weekend, and literally shaking the cage and scaring the shit out of you for 3 days, so you are an assassin when it comes to being on the phone, an assassin finding deals, and knowing how to handle pretty much any objection that comes your way, I highly recommend that you attend Success Reflex. It's not cheap, but it's certainly worth it. And it's not cheap as far as money goes, and it's not cheap as far as time goes. It's 3 full days. But I literally work you 17 hours a day for 2 days and then a half day on Sunday. It's extremely long days, but it is a lot of fun. So for those of you that do want to attend, you will get a deal. That's my promise to you, unless you do nothing. If you sit on your hands and do nothing, you will get 0 deals. That's a promise. If you actually do what I ask you to do for the duration of Success Reflex and 30 days past that, there's absolutely no reason why you can't get a deal. Sam has gotten 2, 3, actually 4 or 5 deals in 2 weeks doing this extremely part-time. So if he can do it, you can certainly do it as well. All right, so make sure you attend. All you have to do is send me an email, and I'll squeeze you in. All right, guys, thanks very much for being on the call. Love you a long time. Hopefully this was as good for you as it was for me, and I hope you fly in your future deals. I got to stop with these pilot jokes, and keep the pilot light on, and enjoy your week. And our jam sessions expired. I noticed that our jam sessions expired. If you were part of the jam session, the jam sessions have expired. You need to re-register for jam sessions. So check your email. We sent you an email for those of you that qualify for jam sessions. If you've been on past jam sessions and don't get the email, send me an email as well. I'll throw you into jam sessions. If you have not attended a 3-day or a part of coaching, you will not get a jam session. So you will not get that email. You have to attend our events in order to get those. Okay? So again, re-register for jam sessions. They expired. I didn't notice. I didn't extend it. So you have to re-register. Sorry for the pain in the ass. You just have to click the button and you're re-registered. Starts tomorrow. All right, guys. Thanks very much. Love you a long time. Hopefully you got something out of this call. And look forward to seeing your great success in the very near future. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.